Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Armchair Reviews. My name is Chris Godden. I am here in Ottawa. Yes, I'm not in Yellowknife this week. I've been here for the past, 2 weeks, I'd say. James is still back there, but I decided to take a mic with me on the road. I've kind of been all over the place. Haven't had a lot of time in the cinema too much, really, I'd say. I haven't had a lot of time. It's just been busy. Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. New Year's, we're recording this on New Year's Day, December 31st. So since I haven't been able to get to the theater that much, we decided to do a Netflix special today. But before we get to that, let me introduce you to a familiar face with Armchair Reviews. He's co-hosted before. We did actually 1 year ago, almost to the day, December 26, 2017, where we did The Room and Disaster Artist, Rob Carl.
How's it going, guys?
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Yes, obviously we did this a year ago. We did Disaster Artist and The Room. Mm-hmm. Banged it out in one day.
We got Gowdy on there as well.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
That was fun. It was a long day, and we made the most of it. We had a great time with it.
Absolutely.
So ridiculous, but it was so fun.
And I'm just excited to do this one.
Yeah, so this one is so affordable as well.
Absolutely, but also both. I mean, obviously, as Chris will get to in a second, the two things we watched we both really wanted to see.
Of
course, it's what everyone's talking about right now.
Yeah, so. I didn't see Aquaman yet. I didn't see Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse yet. Those are the top two.
Those are obviously next.
Oh yeah, but the box office, they're tearing up the box office numbers right now. But this one, everyone's talking about this. This is the most relevant right now. These two features on Netflix, which is the newest Black Mirror, Bandersnatch, which is crazy. Everyone was thinking it was initially going to be a new season, which is, I guess, coming down the line anyway. But they dropped this on Boxing Day, I think, and it's an event they're advertising it as. This choose your own adventure interactive viewing experience, and then after that, we also have this one, which is it set the internet aflame with all these memes everywhere for BirdBox. Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Big releases for it's perfect that these came out the time that they did. I think Bird Box came out December 18th or something, but it's right in that holiday time. Everyone's gonna be there for families and stuff like that. You're gonna get some downtime.
Well,
that's
on
Netflix.
People that are in school are gonna be off on break.
Yep.
People that are working, it's during the non-busy time because everyone's off. So you have that downtime. You're gonna sit down. You're gonna put on some Netflix and you're gonna watch. Whatever's available, and to release something at that time of the year, I think is perfect marketing wise.
Oh, 100%. And that's something that just gets so much buzz right off the bat. Two of these things. So which one did you want to start with first? We watched Bandersnatch separately, and then we watched
days ago, yes.
Yeah, and then we watched it together. Did a little bit of different walkthroughs that we didn't experience before on our own. Do you want to talk about that first, or do you want to talk about Bird Box?
Might as well do Bandersnatch, just because we kind of finished with it a few hours ago.
Yeah, let's do that right now while it's fresh,
exactly.
too. And we've also had some time to think about it.
Yeah.
I watched this the other day. I was coming back from Montreal to Ottawa, and watched it just before the train ride. So I was kind of rushed, but at the same time, I just wanted to watch it and see what it was about. And I knew it was one of those things that I could get back to and not be bored, because there's so many different outcomes and possibilities you can take. Or is it just the illusion of how many outcomes you get to, or how many choices actually matter? So it was really cool. So what did let's talk about, Rob, how it all starts, what it's about, before we get into the alternate path and stuff, what the basis of this series is.
So I'll start off with how excited I was for this, because as you had kind of just pointed out, we were all kind of expecting a full season, which, as you also just said, apparently that's coming shortly, a full season of or season 5 of Black Mirror. But this standalone was perfect. So when it came out, obviously I was a little disappointed that it was one episode, but I was instantly super excited because I found out it had the alternate ending. So it came out on December 29th. Obviously woke up, tossed on Netflix. I don't have cable anymore. and saw it sitting right there. Obviously, it's the first thing
saving money.
Exactly,
Okay.
saving money.
You gotta save money. Keep something.
Obviously, they just released it, so it's the first thing sitting there on the main screen. So my girlfriend and I, Ash, her name's Ash. Classic. We decided we were gonna sit down, grab a coffee, and let's watch this, knowing that it's gonna be probably longer than we expect because it's alternate endings and whatnot. You pick the scenario. Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, it starts off with pretty simple, I would say, choices where it's you choose the
pretty mundane.
Exactly, you choose the cereal just to get the user kind of a taste of what they're going to be dealing with the rest of the episode. I'm sure,
and then to also during that time, like that's the first introduction that you're also being timed.
Exactly.
Like
yes.
It's like 10 seconds or something like that.
10 seconds, and also we did do some tests today after, as Chris had mentioned, like obviously we watched on our own experience, but we went back and did all the endings that we hadn't experienced yet, but also tried some things. So, for example, we tried to see what would happen if that 10 seconds kind of elapsed.
What choice it would make automatically.
Exactly, and it's the default first one, in case anyone's wondering, and which kind of makes sense. It's the one I'm sure Netflix wants you to choose anyways.
Yeah. They definitely do that quite a bit. Like they kind of like force your hand, or
you can also kind of tell too. Not in all of them, but most of them, like the endings, or the path that they want you to choose. It's a lot more smooth into the scene as opposed to it's a little choppy if they choose the different one.
It's pretty deliberate where it's just like, nah, you fucked up.
Yeah,
it's done. You destroyed your computer.
Yeah,
or threw tea on your computer.
Like there's legitimately a few. Yeah, there's a few instances where you get to about the middle of the episode and he's going through a dilemma where he's having issues programming his game.
Yep.
And it says either yell at the father or break the computer or throw tea on the computer.
Yeah.
Well, we clicked. Obviously, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to yell at the dad and see him get into a conflict. But this time around, when we were kind of going back, we decided to throw tea on the computer, and it was almost comedic how abruptly it ended. Yeah. He poured the tea on the computer, and it was done.
And who knew that like at that time that was the way to do it? You fry your keyboard, boom, pack it in, everything's toast. The
obviously,
done.
Being in 2018, we're like, okay, cool, you killed your
keyboard.
I can just go get a new one for $10. Like,
but not all your work.
Legitimately, he breaks his keyboard and the whole computer breaks. So
classic 80s,
classic 84. I have no idea.
The graphics were so sick though.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it follows this we'll get to like where we lead to, where it leads us to. So pretty much just starts with this like he has a little bit of mental illness going on, just a shade of it. And it's a program developer. He's working on this game based off this huge fantasy novel. It's choose your own adventure. So it's mirroring kind of what's going on.
Yep.
And he's trying to sell it to his company, and he's working with this company to develop this game, and he's working with his idol, where you have Will Poulter show up. What's the main character's name again? Stefan Butler.
Yeah, Stefan. Yeah.
And that's played by Theon Whitehead, who you may know him from Dunkirk. He was one of the main guys in Dunkirk, I believe. He was good in that. He's also really good in this.
Very good in this.
And then Will Poulter, he's grown up quite a bit since The Maze Runner and
Meet the Millers or whatever.
We're the Millers, yeah. So he's pretty good in this role too. I really like that, and all their interactions there. Everyone in this setup, Black Mirror is pretty good for having good performances.
On the top echelon for acting when it comes 100%.
Down to it. Especially with like it's like sci-fi, like virtual reality video game stuff, and people are still interested in being in it, and they take it so seriously, and it just pays off so much more.
Well, yeah, that's just it. I feel like it's a lot more challenging in that setting as well.
Yeah,
because you're probably dealing with a lot of green screens, a lot of stuff that you're not actually acting at.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And to be that good at it, and anyways, it's always great with Black Mirror.
And then having to do it over and over again too, like the different endings or different paths.
Very impressive. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's so good. This thing, I think it can last anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour and a half, or you can probably, if you go back, you can probably do plenty of different endings. Probably at least 2.5 hours worth of viewing.
As I said, Ash and I, when we watched it the first time, we did several endings, and we were about an hour 45 to 2 hours going through everything, and then I have my first conversation with Chris the next day when he had watched it, or later that day, and within 2 minutes of our conversation, he's already like, wait, what? And he didn't see that ending that I saw, or one of the things that I saw. And then he's explaining something, and instantly I'm like, oh, I didn't see that either. Yeah. So, like, obviously we just chose different paths. Even though we kept going back, we still missed a ton of stuff, which was even more intriguing. So, it's like, I got to go back and watch it again. You know what I mean?
We're trying not to spoil, but we have to spoil so we could be like, oh, wait, I didn't hear that before. I didn't see that before.
It was like that instant, like, disappointment. Like, damn, dude, you just told me. But it's like, I wouldn't have known that I didn't see it if you didn't tell me.
Exactly.
So that made it kind of fun, too, and very unique, obviously.
Yeah, I think this is perfect Black Mirror. Like, absolutely. I'm excited for what they have next. And, like, I don't think a lot of other shows can kind of get away with this styling. I feel like this fits in with Black Mirror just as a whole perfectly. I don't think a lot of other shows can pull this shit off.
Well, and I thought it was kind of cool too, just to kind of add to that, where the fact that, you know, all Black Mirror's premise is about possible future technologies, and like how it'll fuck with us and our society, whatever, and all the social dilemmas. But this kind of brought us back to '84 when technology was just first starting. The gaming industry was just starting.
On the precipice.
Well, I thought that was really cool. It's like they were able to bring their concepts and their craziness of the future and bring it to the past and just kind of mold it all together. But at the same time, throughout this entire episode and all the different twists and turns and choices that you have, there is multiple references to different episodes of the full series of Black Mirror, which is incredible how they tied it all in.
Episode titles or just like actual imagery. A lot of imagery,
yeah.
Like you even said, like the nosedive game. What was like the first episode of the last season or something like that?
Season 3.
Season 3, yeah, there you go.
When Netflix first took it on. And then there was
the
Metalhead, the game. There was instead of San and Junipero, it was Saint Junipero for
the
psychiatric hospital or whatever.
Oh, excuse me.
And just like small things like that, like people that have obviously paid attention and actually, you know.
So it's kind of like hints at all of this is all one.
Exactly.
Everything is
which is ironic because not one episode ties with the other.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's kind of cool, right? Exactly. So, which is perfect though.
Yeah. So it's all kind of under the umbrella, but that's why I love this. It's so good. So good.
I really hope that. Well, so as I said, I was really disappointed when I saw it was only one episode, but instantly I picked up my phone and searched and saw that there should be a season 5 coming shortly. They didn't have a release date, and there was rumors that Miley Cyrus is in one of the episodes and a few other actors, and that sounds promising. The fact that there's rumor of specific actors,
because that's usually like other than like the one with Wyatt Russell, usually British, isn't it?
They're usually British. There's the one with John Hamm, the Christmas special.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it was the last episode that it was with BBC.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Now it's getting more international. I guess.
It's getting more international. They have more pick of the litter, I guess, as opposed to just the UK actors.
Yeah, it's so like as you said earlier, so high echelon now. It's such quality. Like, where can you get this kind of shit? It's so good.
Oh, absolutely.
TV's so good.
Like the writing is so. I mean, we're sitting there watching it. We're just like, I mean, this writing is incredible.
Yeah, this is so good. It's so entertaining, and like it can be like kind of cheesy with some of this stuff where it just like abruptly ends. You're like, all right, what the fuck? But
I feel like some of it is intentional though. Like,
absolutely,
and it's just like that makes it so much more perfect though, because they are fucking with us.
Oh yeah,
when it comes down to it,
absolutely. Like the amount of times where it's like we don't really have a choice. It's going to lead us to the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first time through. What was your ending? Like how did you the first time? No matter like if you got sent back or something like that. The main ending.
Okay, well,
so I'll tell mine.
Okay, so just to kind of preface this, I guess.
Preface it.
There was one of the choices where you had to pick to either go. Is his name Phil? What's his name? Colin.
Colin, yeah.
Yeah.
Phil.
Yeah.
Phil.
Yeah, Phil.
Phil
Colin.
Phil, yeah.
So there's a choice. There's a choice of following Phil Collin or going to the doctor.
Yeah.
So basically, they wanted you to go see Phil Collin.
Phil Collin.
You
wanted to see the doctor.
They knew everyone was going to pick that, so that was kind of like a side adventure. But point being, it all led to going to see the doctor after that. So they had a lot of ins and outs in terms of like. They'll let you pick another choice, but it's still going to lead to the other choice when it comes down to it. And we didn't learn that until we watched it the second time, try to do the different scenarios. And it's just, okay, so what we got out of one choice was an additional scene, but it still led to the same thing. So my very first run through, What did we do? Well, it was jumping off the building.
Right. Yeah.
So it was that first side plot where you had two choices. He's high on LSD.
Yeah.
It's actually a really, really cool scene. Which you wouldn't see if you chose the doctor route. So you obviously you follow Colin. You go to his apartment. He's trying to convince you, or he's trying to get you out of the writer's block or whatever you have going on.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
And then you take the LSD with him, and you have this crazy 3, 4, 5 minute trip in actual movie time, and it's obviously really cool. He gets onto the balcony, and then there's this big rant. He talks about jumping off the balcony, but it doesn't matter because you're just going to end in the alternate reality.
That rant was so good, though.
It was perfect.
I was entranced because he's just obviously so high.
Yeah.
He's just you could see him sweating and stuff. So it's such a good performance by Will Poulter there. But it's just such nonsense. A lot of it too. It's just such.
Oh, but it's so good though.
Paranoid conspiracies.
Paranoia, the Pac-Man, references and all that stuff. Going to the maze, coming out. Doesn't matter if he dies.
Program in control.
Exactly. So then, anyway, so you have a choice between whether you kill your So Will Poulter, he says,
one of us going over.
Exactly. So is it me or you? And then you have the choice. So you can either kill yourself or tell him to jump off, and he jumps off.
Right.
Our very first time around, we chose to jump off ourselves, and that ended up ending real quickly. And you're dead. It goes to the review that you're going to have it all the endings where it's going to review the game, and you're going to get different ratings based on what you choose.
Right.
This one we got, I think it was 1 or 2 out of 5 stars, because basically they took the game of what it was when he died, and then they just
stuffed it with shit.
Yeah, stuffed it with shit, and then just got it out.
That's a good thing to say that you mentioned, that every time you get to that crucial decision where it cuts to that microplay review show, and that little asshole reviewing the games and either talking shit about it or giving it great reviews, or just giving some sort of background narrative of what choices that you made led to what game was developed.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good I'm glad you mentioned that, because that happens over and over and over again.
And exactly. So then after the first time, you start recognizing, okay, so that's how it ended. Okay, and then the next ending you choose, I'm at the ending again because I'm back at the review. So at that point, you understand the goal. The goal is to get the highest review possible at the end of the game. So actually, it was our second time around. We chose some different choices and went through, and actually we ended up getting 5 out of 5, I think, the second time.
But it's pretty dark how you get there.
Yes.
So how do you get there?
So it ends up. So as I said, you kill yourself, and then so then we went right back. We went right back to the same scene.
You kill yourself.
So it gives it when it's over. It says exit the credits or go back. So you can go back. Obviously, you've only been watching for 45 minutes at this point. So you go back, and obviously the logical thing is to make Colin kill himself. Right. So he kills himself. Ends up going all the way back to basically the therapist, which is what you would have chose if you didn't do that little side gig. Ends up
the game releases, but Colin becomes a martyr, where it's everyone just remembers him and everyone forgets about what's his name?
Colin.
God, no, Stefan.
No. Yeah, Stefan. Everyone remembers Colin.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So ultimately, there's a lot of decisions that got to this point, but when it came down to it, he ended up killing his father. And the ending that we chose was
with an ashtray.
Yes, with an ashtray. Every time with an ashtray. Actually.
Every time, yeah.
He ends up. So you decide either to kill him or not to kill him. Obviously, we want to see him dead, so you kill him.
Okay, obviously.
And then it gives you a choice: you bury the body or do you
chop it up.
Yes, dismember it. So obviously,
this is the 5 out of 5 video game.
Exactly. So this is the second. It was the second or third time. We got it pretty quick.
Right.
And we even did warnings after that. But so we did obviously dismember because we're really messed up. Anyways, that ended up being the winning ending. So it brings you to the point where the game gets released because he has all this clarity. He's obviously super insane. You're seeing all the blood markings on the walls, just like the author of the book that he's making this game of.
Yeah, JFD, Jerome F. Davies.
Exactly. So, and then he has this weird smirk on his face. He completes the game. He's obviously in this state of mind that's psychotic, but
here's the kicker: keeps the head as a trophy.
Exactly. So it kind of half ends as it zooms out from his head, looking at the computer screen when it's completely finished, and you just kind of see in the background the head of his father that he obviously dismembered on top of the cabinet. And then you think it's over. The credits start, and then it has this really awesome turn where it starts going to the
Present
rating.
day.
No, well, it goes with the rating first, the 5 out of 5.
Right, that's right.
And then it breaks to a news bulletin of that was the review back in 1985 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now there's going to be a Netflix version of it, and it goes to this girl who's creating the Netflix version, obviously, that we're watching, and has all these obviously references to what we literally just watched. So she turns on her computer monitor, she's making all these scenarios, and it's the first few minutes of the actual episode we just watched. And then you have a decision at the end. You either break the computer or just throw T again. And it's the same ending. We tried them for both. But it was just really cool how they tied everything together. But it turns out the most, in Black Mirror style, the most demented, darkest one was the correct one to choose.
Yeah, exactly.
It was dismembering the body.
Yeah, the game goes on to be a hit. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
what was your first experience?
Mine was it got so bonkers so fucking quick. Holy shit. I was just in a rush and whatever. But I was watching it as I go. I went after I did the call-in thing, went back and went to see the doctor.
Yeah.
And then he's having his breakdown, so he's thinking that like something's controlling me now.
Yes.
Because at this point I've already experienced the like who's there. He thinks he's controlled because there's asks for Netflix or whatever.
Right.
I give the whole Netflix introduction. I'm doing all that. It's pretty neat actually. It's pretty fun just to fuck with him because you keep telling him what's going on. Like, oh, I'm from Netflix. This is an online streaming service for the 21st century. He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, because this is 1984. Keep in mind.
Yeah, so it's just like fucking with him. It's brilliant. And then you go to the doctor or whatever, and then he's talking to her about, I hear these things, I can't control myself. You have that scene where he's like biting his nails or not biting his nails or pulls earlobe, not pull his earlobe. He's like fighting his hand in actions. I think that's another storyline or whatever. That's cool. But he's talking with her.
Brings up the Netflix,
and she's like, well, so someone's controlling you, and this is like some sort of entertainment. Why wouldn't it be more entertaining? Like, wouldn't you like... This is an ordinary office. This is an ordinary part of the world. You're talking to an ordinary woman. Wouldn't you want like more action? And then like you have a prompt where it's like yes or fuck yeah. I clicked fuck yeah because it's hilarious. And he just throws coffee in her face, and at the same time, he gets the same reaction if you say yes anyway. But fuck
basically,
yeah,
if you're boring as fuck.
Yeah. But fuck yeah is pretty sweet.
So
obviously, I'm gonna say fuck yeah. Throws coffee in her face, like pushes her over. She just pulls out 2 batons. She gets full fight mode ninja. So then she's like, do you want more action, you bitch? Come get some, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, fuck yeah, fighter. Because the other option, which we went back to, I'll come to in a second, you leap out the window.
Well, it says leap out the window and then it cuts out.
Right. But
yeah,
go ahead. So it's either leap out the window or fighter. So I'm like, fuck yeah, fighter. You start fucking getting a full-on fist fight with her. And then all of a sudden, the dad busts through the office, and you start fist fighting him. He grabs you, pulls you up like this, by like a chokehold against the wall. And then your next option is karate chop dad or kick him in the balls. So I'm gonna kick him in the balls.
I mean,
just went whacha, kicked him in the dick. Sure enough, got free, and then kept fighting with the psychiatrist. And then fucking dad grabs him, he drags him out, and he's losing his fucking marbles the entire way, and he gets dragged out of the hospital. That's it. That's just the end of the thing.
So like that whole scenario obviously is a dead end though.
Yeah.
Because as Chris had mentioned, we went back to see the different kind of paths we never chose. So we chose the jump through window.
Yeah. So this is there where it comes meta yet again. So go ahead and take that away. So that's what we did.
He's about to jump through the window, and then all you hear is cut, and then it kind of pans out, and they're actually in a
studio.
A studio. They're filming. And he's confused. He's like thought this is real life or something. And then she calls him Mike.
Mike, yeah.
And he's like, but my name's Stefan. And so she just thinks he's nuts and really into his character, but
she's calling for medical aid and
exactly. And then
like you see the dad like on his cell phone and like the one of the actors' chairs and stuff. It's hilarious.
Exactly. And then it just kind of ends kind of abruptly, but it was one of those side stories that like didn't really have much to it, and one of those kind of false endings.
Yeah.
But very entertaining nonetheless.
For sure. Yeah, there's so many other endings. Like there's so much to talk about with this fucking thing. Like the one where, I don't know, you pick a book or pick up your family picture.
Yeah.
And then you fall asleep, you wake up, you go in the middle of the night, you take the key, you unlock the thing, you go to the the dresser of what it is. You find like the rabbit, or you don't find the rabbit, or you find like the program control study. There's so many options. And there's one where it's like really dark. Like I got this one eventually as well, where you find like you go back, like you go through the mirror.
Yes.
Right? You become like the little child again. You have the rabbit.
That was when you pick up the family photo.
That's right, yeah. So you have the rabbit, and then if you go with your mom, train derails, so that kid dies, like he dies.
Yeah.
And then it flashes forward to present day, and like he's in the middle of a meeting with his psychiatrist, and he's just passed out. Like he has
they pronounce him dead.
Yeah, pronounce him dead. Like it was like a mirror, like where it's like he died in the past, well he's dead in the future.
Like, that's so cool.
It's like, what the fucking hell is going on? There's so good, so good.
And honestly, that's what made this not only this episode, but what makes Black Mirror so special is because they're so creative and they really push the envelope on so many things that other series have not even considered touching.
No,
really.
Like I can't think of anything. Maybe there was something that was done like this a while ago, but not to this extent. And no, well done. I can't recommend this more because it's so much fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And it can be violent, but it can be dark. It can be it's just entertainment.
I mean, when it comes down to it, and you have the added feature of you actually controlling and having some, well, maybe false decisions.
Yeah.
but that come with multiple endings and multiple surprises, and just makes it so much more fun for the user.
Yeah. So, muy bueno.
Yeah, absolutely.
Muy bueno.
10 out of 10. I mean, I'm a full advocate of Black Mirror when it comes down to it. As Chris and I were talking today, there's really only 1 or 2 episodes, excuse me, that I didn't really, I wouldn't say enjoy, but like as much as the other ones.
Right.
So I mean, I was going to be all in anyways, but this exceeded my expectations and absolutely I'd say 9.5 out of 10. It was great.
Yeah, and then this is all over the internet right now, so definitely go watch it if you haven't seen it already. Whew, that was a big one.
Yeah, it was
That's
good,
so much to cover.
That was a lot to cover.
Oh, that was fun. This is normally where I'd put some advertisements in, but I don't have those yet, so
that's fair.
Let's go right into the next item then. BirdBox.
BirdBox, yes. We watched this last night together, actually.
Yes. So we saved this. So we watched the BanderSnatch because it would be fun to compare our stories with, right?
And it was almost perfect that we did it that way.
Right.
Because watching it together and then going through all this stuff in one sitting literally would probably take over 3 hours.
It would be a lot.
So the fact that we can kind of watch in our own experiences, compare, and be like, oh, now this makes me want to go watch it a second time and do the stuff we haven't done,
right?
And experience the things we haven't experienced.
Exactly.
I think it kind of worked out great.
No, we did that. We actually thought ahead and we planned this, made it work out.
Absolutely.
This is perfect. So yeah, we came together last night, and it was like just super chill. Turn on Netflix, boom, BirdBox movie. It was surprisingly long because we duped ourselves a little bit. We didn't pay attention to how long it was initially, but
thought it was it's like hour 20. It was actually 120 minutes.
Yeah, so 2 hours. This movie's 2 hours long.
Yeah,
and well, let's get into what it's all about. Starring Sandra Bullock, Sandy B. What's up?
So yeah, I mean, basically starts off and she is pregnant. She's close to, I guess, delivery or that date.
I think she's 4 months. She's 4 months pregnant.
Who's counting though?
Yeah.
She's big.
I think, yeah.
She's big.
Oh, no, that's true. Yeah, she is big. So maybe she's 9 months.
Maybe she's
8
months
months
out. I don't know.
Who cares?
That's the math.
That's the math.
What are children?
She's preggers. You can tell.
She's having something coming out of her. So, so she's at the hospital doing a routine checkup, and obviously there's the classic foreshadowing. They kind of make eye contact with a girl near a window, whatever. And she's
with her best friend. I think Jessie. I think.
Who cares?
Whatever.
She killed herself like right away. So they go.
I think this is a spoiler show, a spoiler-filled show.
So she goes.
Yeah, in fact, she killed herself.
She goes for one of those baby checkup things. They put your thing on the screen and cool, whatever. It's a boy that has a penis or it doesn't.
Okay.
Comes out.
One of those.
And then all of a sudden, the girl that she had previously made eye contact with when she was walking through the hallway is trying to kill herself, banging her head creepily against the window, and her skull is cracking open.
Yeah, it's hot.
You can see, obviously, because you can see outside, it's one of those clear hallways that kind of goes over a street, like a tunnel, like bridge, enclosed, whatever. Anyways, you can see what's happening outside, and you can see kind of shit's hitting the fan outside. Yeah. Everyone's going berserk. People are running out of buildings.
And they were so confident that it wasn't going to get there. Even though you see the map, like, it's in Alaska, where it's going to be in Canada, and now it's in Mexico, so it's obviously going to be in the States, and then boom, ipso facto.
Yeah. Science.
Bob's your uncle.
Even though probably nothing.
No.
Nothing has to do with science in this.
No, nothing. This is just made up things.
Yes. So, okay. Exactly. So, anyways, obviously they're able to get outside, get into the car, drive away fine without seeing whatever people are seeing to commit suicide.
Yeah, people are tripping out.
They're going crazy, and whatever this is making them see the deepest, darkest things that they don't want to see, or maybe some really good things, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
And it's convincing them to commit suicide.
You see, like the change in the whites of their eyes and their own pupils.
Their pupils go like weird and like Anyway, so they get into their car.
Cool effect though.
It's true. Actually, it was done.
Yeah, like
done. Neato.
He's Neato.
Neato gang.
Yeah.
So they get into the car. Obviously, they're okay for a little bit. They're driving down the street, and then the woman driving, her friend, what was her name again?
I think it was like I made it up, like Leslie or something. I don't know, Jesse.
So Deborah.
Jesse.
So Deborah.
You know, Lisa.
Lisa.
Call back to Disaster Artist.
Yeah, that's call back to our last podcast.
Holy shit!
But so when we saw
Jessica, there you go.
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Sarah Paulson.
Nailed it.
She's in Ocean's 8 with Sandy B as well.
Yes. So
go.
Jessica's driving the vehicle. She's the first one to see whatever the thing is. Mm-hmm. Her eyes she starts to cry. I don't know if they don't really start to bleed. They start to go red, and like her pupils start to change. You notice something's different. Yeah. She's terrified. Sandra Bullock's character looks over, sees that she's in like this really weird state, and she notices something's wrong. All of a sudden, Jessica starts to try to crash the car. Mm-hmm. Sandra Bullock fights it. Car rolls over another car. They're okay. They kind of get out. They're a little injured, and then her friend Jessica kind of looks at her and terrifyingly, and it keeps backing up until a truck comes and kills her.
Right.
To her eventual death, obviously.
She gets murked.
She gets absolutely destroyed.
Rickety wrecked.
And then that kind of sets the tone. Okay, so this is what's happening. This is real now. This is in the U.S. This is in their neighborhood. This is everywhere, I guess, now.
Eventually, she ends up in a house with other survivors. Like, they all kind of trust each other. They all kind of not, but they're willing to work together. And that's where we kind of jump back and forth, which I really liked. Which was like in the past, which was 5 years earlier.
Yes. And
now we have in the future where it's going by hourly, where they're along the river. So it's like 2 hours, 6 hours, 24 hours on the river, whatever, and they're all blindfold doing that. But it's jumping back and forth. So, but you get led up until the river while you're watching it, even though it's jumping back and forth.
Yes.
Right. So it explores. It's a basic formula eventually where you get a group of survivors, you have this thing that's attacking people. You know they're eventually going to get picked off one by one. There's going to be a clusterfuck that happens, and sure enough, yep. And then, but even though I knew kind of what was going to happen, I didn't know like who was going to get picked off in what order. I didn't care like that. Like it was just like I was still like, okay, how's this going to happen? What's the payoff here? I'm still intrigued because like the tension is still high.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to kind of point out before they actually she gets into the house, Sandra Bullock's character. What's her name? So I stopped saying Sandra Bullock's character.
Sandy B's character. I just call her Sandy B. Mallory.
Yes, Mallory. I should know that.
Mallory.
Because it actually is said a lot because she's the main character.
Yeah.
Mallory. So Mallory's kind of in a haze. She just saw her best friend die. She's sitting in front of this house on the street. Everything's going haywire. A girl comes out of the house as they're about to close it to come save her. Well, this woman, as she gets to Mallory, she obviously sees whatever everyone's seeing that making them commit suicide. So at first, first you think that they're seeing like some super scary stuff that is making them want to kill themselves. But then hers kind of gives a different twist to it where she's like, Mom? And she's like, her mother's been dead. You find out like a few minutes later or whatever that her mother's already been dead. But she's like, Mom?
Yeah.
Oh, I can come with. So it's more of like a pleasant feeling, but whatever it is, what it's doing is it's convincing them in whatever way, personalized, I guess.
Yeah, to kill themselves. Yeah.
Whether it's happy or sad or scary or what have you. So that kind of gives it kind of gave a different look to it, which was kind of interesting.
Which leads me to my next point where the best way to describe this movie, you have earlier in 2018, you had The Quiet Place. That was with, if you don't make a sound, you won't get caught because these creatures, they're feeding off, they can find you with sound. They have huge hearing, whatever. So sound is a big thing. Now this one is sight. For whatever reason, it's sight.
And when you see it can,
I guess,
fuck with you.
It just fucks with you, yeah. but also at the same time with that whole suicide, making you kill yourself earlier on, and people doing the mass suicide thing, you can't help but think the Happening, obviously, which was, and the M. Night Shyamalan weird, like, oh, the plants are rebelling against humans because fuck them, and we're going to make them kill themselves because why not? We're spores. We have spores. Fuck it.
It literally sucked. It was horrible, but like it had like a good idea if it just wasn't plants.
Yeah, right?
It like
weaponized
it was
themselves.
like a mediocre movie, and then you find out it's the plants, and you're just like, nah, it's instant shit.
Yeah. Fuck that. Like, it's just... And Mark Wahlberg just being ridiculous. Mark
Hi.
Oh, hey, Mark Wahlberg.
Say hi to your mother for me.
That's perfect. Nailed him.
So where were we in terms of the actual movie? So they go in the house. Obviously, so you were saying like you were intrigued, and you knew obviously everyone was going to get picked off one by one.
Yeah.
They're in the house. This is obviously the scenario of when it starts happening.
Yeah, they cover up the windows and stuff like that, and then you come across another woman who's pregnant as well. Same amount of time pregnant that Mallory is.
Convenient,
very convenient. Because you see, it's like, oh, okay, so 2 pregnant women, 2 children. Well, it flash forwards to Mallory in the future on the boat. You're like, I got this. Okay, I figured this out. But
then we were watching the movie together. I was like, but wouldn't it be funny if Mallory had a miscarriage and it turns out her kids were twins?
It's like, well, first of all,
I guess it could be a possibility.
I'm like, well, first of all, that's horrifyingly not hilarious at all. Second of all, dark, but I could see them taking that route.
It's true, but it's not Black Mirror, so they didn't.
No, they don't. No, and you didn't have a choice to go back. And all.
No, there was no choices.
But at the same time, you're like, oh, okay, well, this other mother, she's fucks. She's Fucksville.
It's true.
Like, she's gonna die. Okay, so it's perfect.
She's large and not in charge.
Oh my god! How dare you? How dare you? She means so well. Okay.
Oh, she had a great personality.
You're a prick, Rob.
Yep.
You son of a gun.
You were saying the same thing?
Both fucking red right now. Holy shit. Anyway, so they have to go out for supplies and stuff like that, and that was a good laugh. It's good, thank you.
No problem.
They go out for supplies, and they're trying to drive. It's just all tense. I like it because it was tense. You can't see, and people depend on their vision so much. And they had such a good way of doing it, like the cable that she was walking around with.
Yes, even that one time they had to go to a supermarket, obviously, to get food. And we're like, Chris, like, oh, this is stupid. They're gonna paint their windows. You're not gonna be able to see, and they're just gonna, rely on the sensors or whatever. And then it actually kind of worked out kind of nice because they're going really slow.
It's true. But I was impressed.
It was the full 360 sensors. It wasn't just front and back, so whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if that was an added feature.
They definitely paid extra for that because they knew this was going to happen.
Absolutely. And they knew this was going to happen. You'd see like whatever's out there like flying above them because like you could see the shadows moving and stuff.
Yes.
So you don't, and that's the thing. You don't ever see what it is these people are seeing. It's all left to the imagination, and it depends on person to person whether it's terrifying or beautiful. It flips back and forth. You don't know.
It's true. But
some people don't need blindfolds.
One thing I did see was Machine Gun Kelly acting in it, and it was horrible.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Why was he in the movie?
You hated Machine Gun Kelly.
I hate him so bad.
Yeah.
Well,
and he hooked up with the sexy Latina.
That's true. She was good looking.
Rosa Salazar. She's also in Maze Runner.
That's it.
There it is. Up. Yeah, and she's in something else too.
A lot of people in Maze Runner. I feel like it.
There's a good cast in it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I'm sure.
I think what's her name too? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Dylan O'Brien.
Yes.
He's in it. He's the main one.
Cool.
What else were we talking about?
I don't know.
Okay. No, fucking BirdBox here.
Yes.
you know the Netflix movie BirdBox we were just talking about.
Oh, you were talking about how you didn't know what the creatures were. You didn't know like the only time you knew that they were near was obviously actually it goes with the title of the actual I guess movie film.
Yeah,
we call this
movie film. Yes, it is
a Netflix film. I guess yeah,
Netflix original.
Yes.
Yes.
So it turns out you find out halfway through the story that when they're at the supermarket that they're driving through to blindly, there's 3 birds. So Sandra Bullock takes it. I don't know if she feels bad or she realizes that
we're actually gonna have a pet.
Exactly, we're gonna have a pet because I'm weird like that. And she takes him with her, and when the thing or the things are near, they start to freak out. Now, obviously, we have the added advantage of outside the car, or, you know, when they're blindfolded and walking around, we can see what's happening around them.
Sometimes, not always. Sometimes you're under the blanket, right?
True. A lot of time you're under the blanket or like whatever, but obviously it would pan to outside, like what they can't see. And other than the birds freaking out,
see like a big gush of
wind, leaves going everywhere. So you knew it was like it was a physical thing that you just couldn't see. If that makes sense.
Ethereal.
Yes.
I think it would be a nice word for that. I think that's the right one.
Nice. I didn't go to
Sounds
university,
good,
so.
Okay, I did.
Okay.
I hope it's right. Otherwise, I'm just a big old dummy. Otherwise, I'm just a big old dummy. I'm going to fact check this while you keep talking, though.
So I mean, you never really get to see it. You kind of understand that there's a presence there. You know, we understand that you can't actually see it. They don't know that because they're wearing their blindfolds, right? For all they know, there could actually be something standing right in front of them, but they're blindfolded. That's all they know. I'm sure they have an idea that they can't really see it because at the start, obviously people were going crazy and they couldn't see anything. But I mean, they're pretty much blindfolded whenever they're outside of the house.
Yeah, I love how she names the kids boy and girl.
Yeah,
just so dispassionate. She's like, fuck, they're gonna probably die anyway. So.
Exactly, detaching her from any emotional.
Yeah,
I guess.
Although I like how she like. After you find out that it's the other woman's child, like the girl.
The girl is,
she kind of favors the son, where she's like, someone's going to have to open their eyes.
Yeah, because
it's going to be you.
So, kind of to lead up to this, at one point, there's the scene where she's on a walkie-talkie, she's talking to someone who says, we have a community, a safe spot.
Slick Rick.
Yeah, Slick Rick. So, he's talking to this guy named Rick, and it's, you know, come to us. We're at the end of the river. They're at a certain area, which is obviously we find out to be a 2-hour, I guess, boat ride down the river.
No, like it was like a 48-hour boat ride.
2-day, 48-hour is what I meant. So we find out they're about to go there, which leads to a very long, I guess, ride down the river, which was weird because I've never seen a river you go longer than a few hours before you hit rapids.
Yeah. It took a while to get rapids.
Got to 42 hours.
42 hours.
But
we chalked it down.
It's true. So, point being, she had specific instructions of once you get to the rapids, someone's going to have to look.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't make it. We've lost so many people, blah, blah, blah. Once you get to the bottom of the rapids, get onto the shore and then follow the sounds of the birds.
Right.
Okay, cool. So, it pans to the scene where, going back to what Chris is saying, she was kind of picking her favorites where... she's kind of giving the instruction to her two kids. You don't know which one's which yet. Yeah. Which one's hers, which one's is...
Olympia.
That one.
Yeah.
So, it turns...
Great personality.
So, you find out based on the guy... So, he's like, one of you guys are going to have to look. And the boy volunteers. Mm-hmm. And then she instantly says, no, I'm going to pick.
Yeah.
That kind of...
Like
you have an idea like, okay, well, that's because it's her blood. She doesn't want...
Yeah.
The girl is Olympia or whatever.
Olympia. I think. I hope I'm not pulling that out of my mouth. That'd be an obscure name, but
sure.
I think that's correct. Olympia, yeah.
Yeah, Olympia. Okay,
played by Danielle McDonald.
Right. So Olympia.
Yep.
So you find that out pretty quickly, and obviously they go through the river. They end up after about an hour and a half of watching a very long build up.
Right.
And how did you feel about that? Actually, I know there was a few times you were kind of restless. You're like, is this still going?
Yeah. It was. I don't know. I felt like there was just something that was boring with it. It's like
they definitely could have shaved off maybe 15-20 minutes.
I think like there was a lull, and I was aware of it, and I was like, okay, well, it's kind of like let's pick this up. I know it picks up. It does pick up. But at the same time, I was like...
The first hour had both of our attention, like, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And then it kind of dropped off for about 20 minutes. It was when they first started the trip down the river. It stopped with the flashbacks, and it was mainly just the river.
Right, okay.
They got to that point, and it was, her trying to go into places. And,
right.
And then it kind of picks up with these mini suspenseful areas. So there was this one twist that we ended up finding out halfway through that... I don't know if maybe this entity kind of evolves the way it's killing people now, but there's another way that it's doing it. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
I can't remember. Like, what is? Oh, that's right. Because it would take over someone's like mind pretty much, and be like
they'd convince you to
convince that person to look, but like they took off their blindfolds, so these people were actively looking, and they were recruiting other people, and being very very hella convincing to take off your blindfolds and look at what they're seeing because it's so majestic and wonderful,
so beautiful,
it's angelic in a way. It's just full of like.
So they're almost like the human host.
Yeah, absolutely.
Per se.
Yeah, it's like it's some sort of it behaves in a way that's comparable to like a parasite, where it gets in their mind and you can see it in their eyes, and they're just very very slimy and with their actions, you know.
Yeah, they're like a used car salesman.
Well, you see that with the character Gary, Tom Hiddleston, Tom something, the actor. He was in
Tom Hollander.
Tom Hollander. There you go. Similar. Tom Hollander. He was in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So he's played Gary, and he's the one that like they let him in reluctantly, like Douglas, like the fucking our boy there. What's his name? John Malkovich.
Yes.
He's such an asshole in this movie, but he's like the realist.
Yeah, he kind of had like an odd, because every movie that he's been in, or every show he's been in, I've actually very very much enjoyed his acting, and he played this part really good, but I think it was his character I didn't really like. He was the realist, but
you're
he
not
was
supposed to like him.
Exactly. But
at the same time, he's the guy that would keep you guys alive.
Absolutely. But
which he does.
And he was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
When it comes down to
it. It's just I enjoyed seeing him, even though he's such a fucking prick.
It's true.
But he's the only one that what was I gonna say? He's
didn't want to let Gary in.
That's right. Yeah, he was against it and like just super. He was paranoid, but in the paranoid and like the actual like being smart for survival's sake, smart.
Right.
So that was enjoyable. We also had this one moment where, maybe we can see it with video cameras, not with our eyes.
Oh yeah.
Not with our eyes, but maybe we can see this whole house. This my house. B.D. Wong shows up. He's not creating dinosaurs in this movie this time because he was from Jurassic Park.
Gotcha.
So he's there. He's like, I have a video tape system. I'll look at it. I'll volunteer to look at it. Just tie me down. It's fine. And we were laughing about that. You brought it up. Was like, so no one was watching here. You take this away.
Oh yeah, because instantly I'm like, and this is as the scene's happening. He's like, it's a cool idea. Like, it's an experiment. Okay, so they tie him up in a chair in front of the computer or the TV, whatever it was, the monitors that are filming the exterior of his house or the person's house. And he's like, well, I'll watch it, and then we'll see if it's the vision or what is messing everyone up can be seen through camera, or if it has to be direct, right?
Right.
So they tie him in a chair, and then he's like, yeah, I got this. It's like some, weird like goodbye, like, oh yeah, I'll be fine, don't worry about it. And then everyone leaves the room. And I look over at Chris. I'm like, no one's gonna stay in the room and just monitor him. Like, all they have to do is stand on the back side, because like the desk is, if you picture it, the door is at one end of the room. You're looking straight ahead, and the desk is literally on the other end. And then it's a window. He would be sitting in the chair facing you at the door, so the monitor would be facing the opposite direction. Literally, you just had to have people sitting on the back side of the screen to make sure he doesn't kill himself.
Right.
Everyone leaves, goes about their day, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, and like it cuts to like a bunch of different people, and then all of a sudden you hear noises of him starting to kill himself. Yeah. And it's like, really?
You see his eyes change. Like, he knocks over his chair, it splits his head open
on like the
mantle or something.
Mantle, whatever. Yeah. And it was just like,
of course.
Yeah, I get it, but it could have been so much better, and like it didn't make any sense. It was like, common sense would be like, yeah, no problem, you do it, and if we'll be here to make sure you don't kill yourself.
Yeah. Nope.
You just tie your arms to a chair, like you can still
knock yourself over,
exactly.
especially on like, it's like an office chair with wheels.
Like string. It was like so obscure. Anyways, it was
that was a silly part, but. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, anyway, it added to the fun of it, and we had a good chuckle because we had just kind of called it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this, of course. What else can we talk about this movie? What did you feel like the birds and stuff like that? They can feel it, but what do you think about that and like the ending?
So there's a few things I want to point out. So going back to what I was saying, they got to the end of the river. You kind of find out which kid was hers. Well, it turns out she doesn't make any of the kids look, and they just kind of Rambo it down the rapids and just
the blanket on
YOLO. There was a few flashbacks where it goes to her because it had been 5 years that they've kind of been through this, where she's raising the kids in this environment, teaching them how to use bells, teach them how to listen to noises and stuff like that, which comes obviously which is super handy in this situation because they have their bells and like she can save them in the water without looking, and it's pretty intense. They get to the shore, and one thing I'd point out to you, Chris, was I didn't really like how, other than the birds, there was no animals. They're in the woods, like pretty much this entire thing, and not once did any animal get shown. And like I get it, like maybe it's something they don't need to touch on, but like realistically, so me being a realist, if I go in the woods blindfolded, I'm probably gonna get destroyed by a bear.
Yeah, bear will fuck you out.
Exactly. So that kind of,
I guess we're depending on.
But I get it's a movie; they're not going to do that; it would ruin it. But like all they had to do was show like one dead animal, like it got messed up by it, or just show one animal walking by. Like, okay, animals are immune to this, not just birds.
Because they didn't, right? I was wondering. That
no, they didn't. Okay. That's the thing. Just touch on it either way, like a quick thing that people can pick up on,
right?
And that's the only thing that bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like touching it either way. I don't care what it is.
Animal freak out or something. And then...
I'm not saying like get her like to fight off a bear. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like touch on the animal aspect.
Just pull a Leo.
Because I did notice it. I did notice that right away. It was just like you're in a forest. Come on.
It's a lot of it is. It's deep forest too.
Like deep, thick forest. Like if there's not a bear, there's a fox. If there's not a fox, there's a wolf. Like there's a lot of things out there.
Deer,
You know what I mean? Anything. Show me whether it's not just birds, whether they're immune to it or they're not.
Right. That'd be cool.
Either way, but
maybe that's that may happen next time.
Maybe
a rabid wolf just attacks the community, rips everyone to shreds.
It's true.
Crazy.
So, just to kind of sum it up, they ended up getting to the, I guess, sanctuary.
Sanctuary. It is
community.
A sanctuary, yeah.
Community.
Yeah, it is.
It was actually kind of neat how they did it. So she walks in, they answer the door, they make sure she's blindfolded. Okay, she's cool. They checked her eyes. They walk her into a separate room. You're like, oh, this is kind of weird. Don't know what's happening. They take her blindfold off, and she's facing a sign that says "Sanctuary for the Blind" or something.
Yeah,
or
something like that.
Anyways, so it's a community of the blind.
Yep.
And she realizes right away because it would be alarming previously because she doesn't have trust for people without blinds on anymore.
Right.
Because those are the people that are convincing people to kill themselves, right?
Right.
So, and so then you can see that like his eyes he's actually just blind.
Yep.
And then it kind of has a happy ending. She names the kids instead of boy and girl.
Yeah. What were the names?
Who knows? Who cares?
Fuck, yeah. I don't remember.
Names them normal names.
Human names.
And then they let the birds out, kind of like a
Who let
Disney.
The birds out? Mau, Lori. Who let the birds out?
So, yes.
So dumb.
They let the birds out, Chris. Ooh. And it's kind of a weird like Disney ending. Everyone lives happy ever after.
Happy.
So you asked me, what else can we talk about? Like what are the things I want to touch on?
Yeah.
I want to touch on how upset I was that you don't know what the hell this is. So
okay.
To go back to what we were talking about in terms of the happening, I was frustrated that it was plants.
Right.
But I'm more satisfied at that and knowing it was something.
Really?
As opposed to not knowing nothing.
I think it's a creative choice to keep it just a total mystery. Because at the same time, I'm with you. I have this back and forth. I probably contradict myself so many times on this podcast by now, where I'm like, I want to know, but I don't want to know. I want to know, but I don't want to know. And I'm back and forth where it's like, how much do I want to know? Will it ruin for me? Or
like it did the happening.
Right. Or is it just better left a mystery? And for this one, like, they do enough where it really is just so different for everyone. How people just like they band together, but they're infected, and others just kill themselves immediately. And
there's different strains almost, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's just you see something terrifying or you see something amazing. It's just, like it's kind of cool that way.
It's true.
It's kind of cool that way because what happens if they just like they made it some like. I don't know, invisible like fairy fucking creature, some shit like that, just fucking with people.
And that's probably why I was disappointed because that's kind of what I felt like it was. It was just some invisible like fairy tale like thing that like legitimately like
a creature,
like a creature, like a monster. Because
fucking
the way they set it all up,
over here.
When I'm first watching, I'm like, oh cool, this could be like a terrorist. Like people are legitimately concerned about some of these things where like there's going to be the warfare of disease and viruses and stuff like the viral warfare. Where like oh maybe this is kind of it, and there's a movie about it now.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was like this invisible monster thing.
It was still like
so that kind of disappointed me.
It was supernatural without explicitly being supernatural.
Yeah, exactly, or maybe extraterrestrial, maybe.
But
so it's up to your own imagination, which is fine, and like I can probably appreciate that more than being plants.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think I was just looking for it to be more of the viral terrorism, something along those lines that I could actually relate to real life, as opposed to just a fairy tale mystery.
Then you get like if it was like a militarized thing, you can get like comparisons to like the Crazies or like 28 Days Later or something like that.
Absolutely.
Also good movies, but
very.
Yeah, I mean, the death scenes were pretty violent at times,
which is what you want to see.
It was actually pretty it was pretty violent enough.
Yeah,
you get people walking into traffic and shit like that, people stabbing themselves in the throat or blowing their heads off.
A lot of predictable stuff.
Sometimes you see off camera like the funny black guy there, who was also in Get Out.
Yes, he was.
He sacrificed himself because he blocks the guy in the freezer.
Yes,
but then you just see blood that kind of come underneath. You don't really know what happens to him, but he probably gets hacked to bits.
Exactly. A few things though. There was a few of the actors. They obviously did get cut off, or they died. They died pretty quickly.
They get cut off pretty quick.
Obviously, I already told you how I felt about Machine Gun Kelly. We don't know how he dies. He just leaves with the girl. He just runs off with her. Remember?
Oh right, yeah.
And we're just like, oh, that was kind of weird. They just take the car from the house, and everyone's like,
right.
oh no, shucks.
That's right. I forgot about that. That was just so. It was so like, what the fuck?
Yeah, give me closure at the end of the movie. Like they see them dead on the street or something. Like what I mean? I don't know. So, anyways, they kind of just leave. Like Machine Gun Kelly had like, oh, your 15 minutes is up. We only paid you like $1 million, so get the fuck out of here. So that was weird.
Fuck.
And then there was other characters that act like the old lady, like some very bad acting from I thought from a few of them. They got cut off quickly, so it didn't really affect the movie in its totality. But
for sure,
I mean the main characters were spot on. They were really good. Sandra Bullock's Money in the Bank. Let's be honest.
Money in the Bank. And Trevante Edwards.
Exactly.
He was in the new Predator that was recently out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a few corny lines, but he played it really, really well.
He did a good job.
And then what was the guy, the bald guy? What was his name again?
John Malkovich.
I didn't like his character, but
he was a good performance.
He's really good acting.
So you hated him, but you're like, he's doing that on purpose.
I can appreciate what he's doing.
Yeah, of course. No, I think, and rightfully so, the memes are coming in hot for this one.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to make memes for it.
Exactly. So, like, after we watched the movie yesterday, we were obviously having a few drinks, a few cocktails. Chris is making a few drinks. In the
bevies.
2 minutes that he was making us the drinks, I had already tagged him in, 4 or 5 memes?
I had 8 notifications on Instagram.
Exactly. I'm going through like, oh, another BirdBox, tag Chris. Another BirdBox, tag Chris. And they're all different ones. That's how viral this is going. That's how... Which adds to us wanting to watch it, right?
It makes it so much more
And not
fun.
just us, but everyone. I mean, if everyone's going to see it, everyone can relate to it, and everyone's going to want to talk about it.
And you can have that much fun with that kind of stuff and get it and still, like, it makes it that much more, like, interactive.
Exactly. I don't know what you would rate it when it comes down to it. I mean, I think it's more of like a 7 out of 10, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I'd probably go.
I think IMDb had it at 6.9, I think.
6.8. Yeah, it's dropped a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd probably put in the low 7, high 6 range, but it kind of adds to it, as you had said. When it's part of your social medias now there's jokes about it. It's not jokes about the quality of it. It's just the pictures, the blindfolds. There's so much you can do. Creatively.
The one I tagged you in, like where she's like one of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, so good.
It's so good. Like it's so creative.
Yeah.
So as we said, this one was 124 minutes. I would say recommend it.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to see it. When it comes down to it, it's very entertaining. As I said, you probably could have cut out 15, 20 minutes, but nothing to scare you away. It was just quality movie. It was entertainment. I mean, it wasn't, like the Black Mirror episode that we just watched, BanderSnatch. It wasn't like a 10 out of 10 like that, but it was good. Yeah. It was just overall, it was good.
I enjoyed it. I did have fun watching it, even though I felt like it went on forever.
Yeah.
So at some points, as you said.
Yeah.
So no, I couldn't. I feel like this was a great Netflix duo right here. Like they could be packaged together.
Yeah.
It's like this is a sweet double feature.
And they got released basically in the same week or 2 weeks. The same season.
Within 10 days of each other, pretty much.
Exactly.
That's good. Kudos, Netflix. Netflix is dominating this fucking TV shit. Like with their Netflix originals and all that crap. Fuck yeah.
Like legitimately, like every Netflix original right now, like I'm watching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because I have so many different tastes, but there's a lot of tastes I specifically don't like, and
they're
literally hitting in everything I enjoy, which is amazing for me. I don't know if any other people are experiencing this, but like everything is so well written. Like Ash and I just started Ozark.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So this leads me to the next segment of BirdBox. We've covered that.
Yep.
Good, watch it. So this leads me to the next point where what have you been watching recently? What would you recommend for everyone out there to go out, to either go out and see or to stream, download, whatever, What would you recommend to watch?
So as you know, like I love.
What are you doing right now?
I love movies, but I'm gonna stick with the theme. We'll stick with Netflix, obviously.
Nice.
One of the best series I've ever seen of all time, Haunting of Hill House.
Yes, sir.
Just actually finished it for my second time. Highly, 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 highly recommend it. Chris, you said you did an episode on it. Yes,
I did a solo episode on it. That was, let me check real quick for all you people out there. That was one of the more recent ones. Yeah. It is episode 43. I did a solo podcast on that, and that was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed that series. I crushed it so quickly by myself.
Instantly hooked.
Yeah.
As soon as you're watching it, it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be my next week.
So well done.
Anyways, just so amazing. Highly recommend it. If you don't like horrors, you don't like thrillers, you'll get emotionally attached to this. I promise. It's not just like stupid pop-ups and cheap scares. It's very complex in so many ways. Highly recommend it.
It's so good.
And then right now we actually just started. We're a little late on the bandwagon, but we just started Ozark.
Nice.
We're just finishing the first season. We just killed through that in the last few days, so we'll be probably finish the second season shortly.
Okay, yeah, I'm still in the midst of the second season. I stopped.
Okay.
Again, I got sidetracked with other things that are popping up there. So,
but like one of those things, instantly hook.
So good.
Jason Bateman's.
He's amazing in it.
So good.
And
Ash had a good point. She's like, honestly, like you're so used to seeing like those kind of like slapstick comedies, like whatever, and like he always plays like the disgruntled like friend or whatever. And he plays it so well. But this is a very serious role, and he absolutely nails it. But his personality, like that we know from previous movies that he kind of brings into this, it fits, and like it's not obviously on the comedic side; it's the serious side, and it's so good.
Yeah, just the timing is perfect for him. Like, yeah. Well done. Yep.
So what have you been watching?
The one movie I got to see, I was in Montreal. It was like I went to it at like 11 a.m. It was Bumblebee. It was like the newest Transformers movie that just came out. I wanted to see Spider-Verse, but again, times didn't work out. So we're already doing some Christmas things on the 27th. So I got at least I got to see one movie.
It's a busy time of the year.
It's a busy time of the year, and I got to see it in 3D. It's probably one of the best Transformers movies, if not the best Transformers movie, I think, of the most recent ones.
Okay.
It's not directed by Michael Bay, thank God.
I haven't seen any since the third.
Okay, so you haven't missed much or anything at all.
Like the Mark Wahlberg one I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, he's just
that's fine.
He's just an angry dad that's an inventor.
Okay.
He's just good at everything, but he's a shit dad. But he's a good dad, but he's also broke. It doesn't fucking matter. But this movie, Bumblebee, you get a good attachment with the main character played by Haley Steinfeld. you get the Bumblebee and stuff like that. That's cool. Honestly, the best part I enjoyed about it was the first 15 minutes. You get to see Cybertron in the battle. You have all the Generation 1 robots that they're looking like. It's so fucking sweet. So you see Optimus Prime, you see some of the Decepticons like Shockwave.
Because this is like a prequel, right?
This is like, okay, so this movie, I'd like to say it's a
Bumblebee
prequel.
Getting born, or like
no, he's not born, but how he gets to Earth.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of fucking murky because it goes back and forth. So, it's a soft reboot, but also prequel. So it shows Bumblebee getting to Earth, like they're on Cybertron. Optimus Prime sends Bumblebee in the midst of battle off to Earth to set up a base. And it's such a fucking sweet action scene on Cybertron. I can't stress it enough. I want more of that, to be honest with you, because it's the best of all time. Anyway, the robots look great. They actually look like they're robots. And then Bumblebee gets sent off. You actually hear him speak, and it's actually, here we go again, full circle. Dylan O'Brien does the voice for Bumblebee, who was also in the Maze Runner movies.
Which is also in Bandersnatch? No.
Well, no. Rosa Salazar was in BirdBox.
Right, yes, that's it. I can't remember names.
Whatever.
All right, whatever.
Doesn't find it.
Stupid. I was like, please come back to Bandersnatch.
But it's so cool. So you actually hear his voice, and like all their voices are pretty cool. He gets sent to Earth. There's
Why is everyone in Maze Runner?
Why is everyone in Maze Runner? Maze Runner has everyone, dude. But yeah, and there's a great action scene with that. Like it's like Blitzwing or something like that when he gets to Earth. And yeah, it's just enjoyable. I'm not going to get too much into it because I think, I don't know, I might talk to James about it. He might have seen it. I'm not sure.
Maybe an episode,
but probably not. Like I'm talking about it here, so right. Whatever. I'll have seen something else by then, or, but some other news though. That's pretty much all I've seen for now for Bumblebee. I can recommend it. Go see it. It's pretty fun. But coming back in 2019, for Christmas and stuff, I got a bunch of new equipment for the podcast. So that should be fun.
Yeah, that's exciting because
hopefully
it'll make it easier for when I get to be a guest again.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be great. Getting some new equipment. That's going to be fun. We'll set that up. I might actually have like some new desks and stuff like that in our spare room.
That's awesome.
Fuck around with. But new mic stands and all that good crapola that goes with a good old podcast production. Be semi-legit. You know.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. I can't wait to play with the new toys.
Absolutely.
To get a better product out for you, lovely listeners. I think, Rob, that's it for this week.
Yeah.
That was a good long podcast right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair though, we probably watched 3 hours total worth of BanderSnatch
today alone.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously 2 hours and some of BirdBox. So
BirdBox, yeah. It's a lot of content right there.
A lot of content.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta pump out an hour episode.
It's true. Sometimes you just gotta do it. So I just want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for guest hosting again. This is always fun. I love doing this, bringing some guest hosts on from the hood. You can also get Rob on a previous episode, as we mentioned before. I think it was episode 24.
Yep,
that was the one, the bonus Disaster Artist and the Room episode.
Which is also available on Netflix. Full circle.
It is. The Disaster Artist is on Netflix.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Little plug there for Netflix. Yeah, we did this whole episode's a plug for Netflix.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've deserved it.
Yo, Netflix, holla at your boy.
We have room for an ad right in the middle.
Right there, yeah. All right, well, this is going to be uploaded on New Year's Eve, so you'll probably get this, the next couple days when it's uploaded fully to all our distribution sites, I guess.
Yes.
We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, among others. We're also hosted by Pippa. That's pretty cool. You can check out our website there for that. Just search Armchair Reviews Podcast, and you can find us there as well. You can email the show at ohmygoddenaudio@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at Christoph Godden, I believe. I'm at Christopher Gods on Instagram. We also have a show Twitter, which is at Armchair POD, I believe. Yes. And we're also on Instagram at Armchair Reviews. Rob, you on any social media? Can people reach out to you or no?
I only use Instagram. I'm at Natty Boy Nation.
Sweet. All one word.
All one word.
Gucci. Cool. Well, thanks again. Thank you guys. Have a lovely New Year's, and we'll catch you in 2019, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a good one. Thanks, Rob. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.